All right, Jackson. Let's kind of go through your video here. Um, I showed this to 3 or 4 other guys, coaches, um, scout, I think, or 2. Trying to get some feedback to see if they're on the same page as where I'm at on me. And the good news is, to a man consistency, I think there are just some minor tweaks that we can make that will help us out. That overall, you have a pretty solid base in mechanics, and you got good leg drive, and there's just a couple minor things that I think if we address those and fix those and try to work and practice on that and take it into our bullpens and games, then I think we're going to be a little more successful. Big thing we're going to really work on is we want to create some depth and angle in our delivery. To use the plane, the height of the mound on a downhill plane, and where everything is flowing downhill. All right, let's start and watch it slow-mo. They're going to work together. All right. So I have Dallas Keuchel at the bottom, a view at the top. Keuchel's a good example because he's pretty clean mechanically. Y'all are pretty similar in a couple ways, but let's get to our balance point here and highlight a couple things. All right, so here you are. Now he's throwing a change up here, but that doesn't change much. All right. So here you go, balance point. One thing to watch is you immediately look and go. I would pick up that target. I know for me, I just want a little bit, before I ever pick up anything to go to the plate, I want to lock in on my target. I'm not looking at the catcher's body or his glove. I'm looking at like the pocket of his glove, or exactly where I want to throw it. If I'm talking about like a two-seamer away, I'm looking at the web of his glove. I'm trying to throw a something like that. I'm thinking about where I'm going with that target. So here we are here, balance point. Now, you can see from the balance point, there's a couple differences of where you're at. This foot for you is a little bit more under your body. For him, he's really tall, and this is a good, nice balance point where his foot's just kind of hanging there. And that really helps him because one thing we'll see on his mechanics is he's real directional, where everything is going straight to the target, from his hip, his front hip, to his heel and his front side, his glove, and his body and chest, and everything goes right where it's supposed to be. So when you get to break, where you come down, your hands break and your body's already going forward, and you're not really loading that back hip and that back leg to the degree to which you can. What happens is you get a little fast, and your arm has to work really hard to catch up. And so if you could get a little bit more load onto that back hip before I go to the plate. Watch Dallas. Look at them. Look how he's breaking his hands. Now he's leaning into that back hip. Now look how directional that front side is. It's going right to the target, okay? He's here at this position. Look at where you are. Look at how far more out front your foot. Now the big thing here, the big takeaway I get is you start up at this height right here, and quickly you lose your posture as you go down. Here it comes, here it comes. Look at how much I've dropped down. Now I know you're going down a slope, but you really drop down to the point to when I get to here, you're releasing this ball at a very low height. You want to create more depth downhill and angle. It's really hard to create depth with a fastball, and especially a breaking ball, if I'm releasing a ball at that low of an angle there. All right? Let's watch Dallas. Look at where he's at, where he strides. Now look at where he's creating angle. Front side. All right, we'll look at that a little bit. So he's more directional, right to the target. Where you here kicking out, when that happens, really got to reach out. And look at how long that stride is. Look at your back knee. It almost drags to the plate. And look at where your release point is. Your foot is right here. And your chest is back here. Watch balance. Chest, lead leg, right there. Okay? Part of that, look at how firm he is on that back side, where he's staying tall. Look at your back side. Back here. And then bending that back knee. Okay? Right there. Alright, so let's rewind just a little bit. So what I would think is the takeaway here, stay a little bit closed longer with your front hip. Lean into that back hip. And then go directionally more on plane. As you break your hands, you're going to get more on front. I wouldn't worry. I'd think about maybe even not. You're driving that backside. You don't have to stride out that far to where you're here and you got to get out in front. I think you could shorten that up a hair, and it would allow you to create more leverage and get on top better and create some depth instead of really getting that far out in front. It doesn't matter how far you stride. It's how much you can rotate how fast you can rotate your hips to create some plane and leverage. All right, so what I think is more tall posture here. Stay a little closed with that hip, leaning into that backside. Stay directionally, and then when I get to that release point, really trying to get to a point where you are downhill, creating angle, and you're not having to reach out so much that you get really inconsistent with this release point. I think that's the biggest thing, is you're having to go so fast to catch up that your release point is very inconsistent from pitch to pitch. I got a couple different pitches, and they're a little bit different on each one on where your release point is. So all in all, a couple really things to, like I said, to really work on. Directional, and at this position right there, I really think if I can get to a good position where my chest is out over my lead leg and I could really stay tall and firm up that front side and then get my hand out in front. These aren't major tweaks. They're minor things that we can work on in drill work and pregame and your flat grounds to really, I would really focus in a lot on those flat grounds where you're trying to create angle without being on the mound. And that's how you do it, is if you can create some depth on a flat ground, getting on the mound will only enhance what you're already doing. So really tune into that and the way your body's feeling it. We can take some more videos, shoot it, and see if we're making some progress there. But all in all, like I said, there's some minor things that I think we can really improve on and enhance your mechanics to really just create, like I said, more life, more depth, hopefully more break on your off speed, and just be more consistent as a consistent release point. So we'll touch base and see where we go from here. Okay.